have been experiencing so many injuries leading up to the fantasy football playoffs that this is the time when winners stay winning and losers stay losing. Because of this, let's go ahead and look at some players you need to be looking at to add off your waivers to help you keep winning your league. Starting off with DJ Dallas, we got to see a glimpse of what he can do after Kenneth Walker went down. He saw 10 carries, 37 yards, almost 4 yards a carry, not bad at all. Depending on how serious the Kenneth Walker injury is, he could be a sneaky pickup. We've seen him be able to draw targets in his short chances that he's had with the Seahawks in the past couple years, so he has that receiving upside that we look for in running back. He is questionable too, though. It seems like he might be dealing with a little bit of an injury. If he is out, Travis Homer will be that guy to grab off waivers. Whoever the backup for the Seahawks is, you gotta go grab him. They are both rostered in less than 3% of leagues, so whoever ends up being the backup, you need to go pick him up. Keeping it on the theme of running backs, you have to pick up James Cook. He has been somebody that I've been telling you guys to pick up for so long now. If you do follow the TikTok, you already know this. We've already known that the Bills do not want Devin Singletary to be the lead back. They drafted James Cook. They also signed Nyheim Hines. Now, obviously, Nyheim Hines is pretty much useless in this offense. I'm not sure why they signed him if they didn't really want him to do anything, but James Cook has blossomed into his RB1/2 role. He led the backfield in carries. He led them in receiving. He had over 100 yards against the Patriots defense. They started him off this season, giving him a little bit of a receiving role. He's been excelling in that. He's getting more of an opportunity every week. He's only rostered in 31% of leagues. He is definitely worth a roster spot. I also want to go ahead and add AJ Dillon in here. If Aaron Jones continues to be on and off with his shin injury like he was last game, leaving and coming back and then leaving again, he is a bona fide league winner. You've seen what he can do in the past. Every time Aaron Jones misses time, he is a seamlessly good plug-in for the Packers offense, and he's rostered in a bit over 50% of leagues, so you can probably find him on your waiver wire. Moving on to our next guy here, Daniel Bellinger. He was on the field for 64 out of 66 snaps, which pretty much means he is a every down tight end. He might not be the best option for tight end, but I know some of you guys are struggling to fill in that roster spot simply because the tight end pool is just so shallow. But considering the Giants have no receivers left anymore, their top 3 receivers have been out for the season, he's worth a roster spot for sure. Another guy you should look at to pick up is Greg Dulcich. I do not trust any of the Broncos offense, but they are dealing with so many injuries, so he might be worth a roster spot to you. He's averaging just under 10 fantasy points a game, but considering that he did not see the field once in the first 5 weeks, not a bad number. He's only rostered in 41% of leagues, and as long as the Broncos are dealing with wide receiver injuries, he is a good play every week. Now, if you're looking for a quarterback streaming option, go ahead and look Tyler Huntley's way. Lamar left the game early with a knee injury. It doesn't look like he's going to be coming back for a couple weeks. Personally, I don't think he's coming back this season at all. Lamar hasn't gotten paid, so I don't see a world where he rushes himself back into action. Obviously, it depends on how serious the injury is, but Tyler Huntley is a good option in that sense. He has that rushing upside and a pretty decent schedule coming up. He's only rostered in 3% of leagues. He might be worth a roster spot. Corey Davis is another guy I want to talk about. He saw his most targets all season with Mike White at the helm. Mike White obviously is not going to pass over 50 times a game, but we've seen over the past couple weeks that they want to pass the ball a lot. So Corey Davis's volume might be a little bit sustainable. And if it is, that is a roster spot right there. He seems to be the clear wide receiver 2 on the Jets. He also had more snaps than Elijah Moore. He's rostered in 18% of leagues. You might want to go ahead and pick him up. Now that we are about to enter the fantasy football playoffs, you need to be picking up your running back's handcuffs. I can't stress this enough. We saw a prime example of this with Samaje Perine coming in and averaging over 100 yards while Mixon was out. Any workhorse running back that has a clear running back 2 behind him that will take his spot if he does miss time with injury needs to be rostered in all of the leagues. This includes guys like Kareem Hunt, Alexander Madison, any combination of Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson, as well as Dontrell Hilliard. But moving on to our next guy, a guy that I'm kind of surprised isn't rostered in more leagues, Michael Gallup. Most wide receiver 2s on good teams are flex spot options. Michael Gallup isn't even rostered in most of leagues. His volume has been increasing every single week. He's seen 7 or more targets in the past few games, and this is with the Cowboys blowing out opponents and sitting their starters in the fourth quarter. Nico Collins is another guy you need to consider picking up off your waivers. He's been averaging over 10 targets the past 4 weeks and has an extremely easy playoff schedule. I want to end this waiver video off with some defenses that will win you your fantasy leagues if you are primed to make the playoffs. These being teams like the Chiefs, Raiders, or Ravens, and if those are taken, look for the Cardinals or Rams. All of these defenses are playing against horrendous defenses in the next few weeks, especially in the fantasy football playoffs, so if they are on your waivers, consider picking them up. It looks like those players are going to end the list of waiver wire targets you need to pick up in your leagues. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next video.